It only takes a few days before you get behind on your homestead kitchen chores. And if you are behind on your homestead kitchen chores, let's do them together. If you're new to our channel, and we'll get into what we're doing here in a few minutes, I'm Julia, and I'm one half of the Canny couple, a small homestead family in rural Virginia that work every single day to merge homesteading and frugality. And one of the things that I really have been focused on the past few years especially is making sure that I process the food that we have or put away food that we have for our homestead, for our day-to-day life as soon as possible. And over the weekend, it kind of built up on me. I had other things to work on. So like baking bread, I'm sure you all have seen that video. So now I need to process some tomatoes. I need to do some blueberries, some blackberries, and some goji berries, and get most of these into the freezer for future canning projects, or put them in the fridge for future eating projects, or get them in the pantry for future anything. So I've got some cereal we got on sale. We don't go to the store very often because it is a bit of a way for us to get there. So when we do go, I stock up, and this is 6 boxes of cereal. We're going to get these in jars and get these sealed later. And this is the only cereal I buy now. I don't buy anything else. And it will last us months. It will last us months. I have gojis. Now this does not look like a lot. This is a lot of gojis. This is days worth of gojis picked. You will pick gojis for hours. This is hours worth of picking for gojis. And it doesn't seem like a lot. And I will tell you, these are not something you want to eat. Well, you might want to eat. You might like them like this, straight off the vine, washed. I do not. I would not suggest it. They are an experience, but they're palatable when they are dried. I just can't dehydrate them right now because it would cause our house to get too warm. So what I do is I put them in the freezer, get all the juice from them, kind of empty it out, put them in the dehydrator. They go for about 2 days. So we'll get these cleaned up. Blueberries. We're sticking blueberries, and Aaron will eat these. These are going to be Aaron's lunch, Aaron's breakfast for the next couple of days. If Isabel wants some, she can have some. I will say she's not as fond of late season blueberries, these later season blueberries, but how we've set our blueberry plants up is to have blueberries throughout, like about October, then August, October. So this is really a good batch of blueberries here. And they will last in the refrigerator, now that it's fixed, for a couple of weeks. So we'll get water in all of this here in just a minute. And then we have a little thing of blackberries here. We're about at the end of our blackberries. The blackberry season's about over. But what I really have to get through are all of my tomatoes. So I've got some peppers here. The peppers I will set to the side. I need to see what Aaron wants me to do with those right now. I don't eat peppers. I don't eat peppers. I love hot sauce. I love hot. I do not like a pepper to save my life. So I've also got a bowl here from picking yesterday. So we're picking tomatoes about every 2 days. And I've got a bowl here. And what I'm going to do first and foremost is go through and get the ones that are ready to be processed. So we've got a bunch of different ones. These are, I cannot remember the name. They're like a pink something we got from Baker Creek. But they seem to be doing very well, and I'm about to sneeze. So I'm so sorry. These are Romas. And they're very little. I think we got these from, what is it called? Buffalo seed, I wanted to say. And I'm okay with them being small because they're mostly meat on these little Roma tomatoes. I do not grow tomatoes for eating. I grow tomatoes for canning. So I'm getting all of these. I'm just going to throw them in my bowl because these are homegrown tomatoes. I don't have to worry about anything being on them. I don't have to worry about them having any. I know exactly what's been put on them because I'm the one that takes care of them, and it's been nothing. Nothing. We have not sprayed them with anything. So I'm going to get all of these in the jar. Oops. And we lost the tomato. And these pink ones, like I said, I don't know the name of them. They're like a cross between a Roma and I want to say like a San Marinza, one of those. They kind of look like those, but they're a little different. They're just a little bit different. If I let these get too much more red, they'll almost rotten on me. And these are Heinz tomatoes, like the ketchup brand. This is the same brand that they use. And I'm just going to get as many of these as I can, because I do this about every other day. And I skipped a day. I skipped a day. So the way we have it set up now, we are doing berries one day. We are doing tomatoes another day. So every other day we're picking something. And this just happens to be the day, and ooh, I got a bug. And we got a little bug we got to get rid of. And it's gone. And I'll shake that off into my scrap bucket, and I'll keep that towel for a little bit. That one I probably won't because it has the bug on it. But I will keep these towels for until they have some raw on them. I've been very careful. I always lay mine out onto a towel. If you don't want to use a towel, use a paper towel. But I always try to lay them out so I can see them and monitor them. So if something gets bad, I can throw it out really fast. I don't want the smell. When I start to smell, I know something's wrong. These are one of those Matthew cherry tomatoes. Those are really good. Aaron really, really likes the flavor of them. But, and they do produce well. But the tomatoes that we're getting more of are actually the, what are they called? Spoon tomatoes. And I need to wipe my hand off really fast. Oh, they were clean. My hands were clean. I just needed to clean them off again. It was just bothering me. These tomatoes have not been cleaned yet, but I just get a little finicky about them. So I'm just going through and getting the ones that, yep, that one needs to go. If they have a bad spot in them, what I will do is I will cut into it and see if there's any of that tomato that's salvageable. See, this is what happens. They start to get a little bit of a bad spot on them. And I'll go ahead and put that in the freezer. Now I know a lot of people would just go ahead and throw that away and get rid of that. But we actually, most of the time it's just a little bitty spot. Sometimes it's the whole tomato, but you can salvage some of it. Now I'll get these washed, ready to go, put into the freezer. And I gotta go help the little one. Okay, she is settled again, taken care of, and we're gonna keep getting all of these little aromas. These aromas are amazing. I will never go back to growing anything else but aromas of some sort. I do like the Heinz. They do a really good job. They do. But the aromas are just so much more meaty. They just really are. I don't do beef steak. I don't do anything like that. I've tried it. I've tried hybrid. I've tried the heirloom tomatoes. I've not had luck at all. They always rot before I can get them off. No matter how early I go, no matter how quick I get them, it does not matter how fast I go out there to get them. They will rot on me every single time. My chickens love this time of year. I always feed them all the little tomato scraps. And these little Matthews and these spoon tomatoes, they're so tiny. You get so much from them, but they are so, so tiny. No, it's just, sometimes we get these little aromas though. They almost feel green, but they're not green, if you know what I mean. And this one won't make it. And this one won't either. A lot of times I'll accidentally pull them off of the vine and they won't be quite ready. I'll give them a chance to ripen up in the house. I'm just going to take my handfuls here, pull them in. And you all are going to hear my vacuum cleaner do her thing. So I'm going to stop it for just a second so you all don't have to hear her empty out her dustpan and wash her mop. So give me just a second. Okay, her mops are washed. My hands are clean again. And we're going to finish getting all of these little spoon tomatoes. Now these spoon tomatoes, I wanted to say they came from Baker Creek. Now most of these were volunteers. I probably have 50 volunteer plants in the back of that bed that I should have weeded out, but I didn't, and they are still growing and blue. We will have these little bitty tomatoes until the frost kills them, and it will have to be a really strong frost because they're right next to our house. And because they're next to our house, that typically means that we will have even a couple of like light frosts where it won't hurt these tomatoes at all. And I'm not even joking, the vines are like 10 feet tall. I built this contraption over my tomatoes. Built this massive contraption up in the air, all these extra bamboo sticks. It's not pretty. It's not pretty, but it has contained the ones that I knew it would contain that I got into it, but I had no idea I was gonna have so many, because we cannot pick them all. We just cannot get to them all. There are so many of these teeny tiny little things. I hate them. I hate them. So normally what we would do is Aaron would start on these. He would pick these. Isabel picks flowers, clover for the chickens. And I go to the garden and I run through the tomatoes in the garden. And then these are what Aaron got yesterday from our garden. We had a few days where we didn't have as much sunshine. So we have, I've got a bit of a breathing room, but it's not going to last because I just need a little bit of sunshine and these things are going to explode on me. They're just going to start, it's going to go crazy. But I don't have as many of these that are quite as ready. I know a lot of you were like, Julia, that looks a little green. That looks a little green. I tried waiting. I did. I swear to you, I tried waiting and I had so many rot. And I was like, let me just try one that looks a bit like this. And they were, the part that I need, this part right here, they were perfect. They were ready to go. So we did have some that the tomatoes were actually supposed to be picked green. Like they never ripened. Aaron couldn't eat them. It was a free pack that we got. And Aaron just could not eat them. He had such a hard time with those tomatoes. I'll never forget it. And then they kept coming up. And we didn't pick them at all. Like, I don't even think we picked more than a handful of them the entire time they were out there in that bed. We have, that one bed just does amazing. But I know I need to work on it a little bit. It needs some amending. Next year we're going to make some changes. I'm going to really focus on doing some compost tea and some other things for weed control. I don't know what's making noises. Oh, it's Rosie. I don't know why she's making that noise, so it's electronics for you. Rosie is my vacuum mop. I got her in January. I run her every day on the vacuum mop setting. Even if I mop my floor, I still run her. I still run it. It does amazing. It saves me so much time and effort and energy, and I would never go back to I will never go back. It's completely different from the original Roomba I had. This was one of the reasons I have been looking at them for years, but one of the reasons I had failed to get one is because of how they did before. They would kind of go in random patterns. It was really hard to manage it. But now this one, she goes at a grid pattern and she'll do ×2. It's really quite amazing. This one has that one's going into the chicken bucket. And I just try to get as many of these that are ready to go as possible because I don't want to have anything rotten. I want to try to get as much of these as possible. And it's the little ones that will rot first. They always do. And they will also split. So I would tell you, depending on what your needs are. Our needs are for canning, not for eating. Aaron will eat the little ones, but it's not something that, you know, he has to have. And in all reality, if he wants to eat them, he could clean them. They are a bit of a pain for that. But he has access to them. They do take a little bit of time. I like to just focus on the bigger ones. So here we go. I have a bowl full of tomatoes. I'm going to get all of this in water. We're going to let it soak probably for about an hour and a half. And I'll probably like rinse out the water, put clean water in it. This is how I typically tend to clean the things that come from our property, because off our property. Nothing's been sprayed on it, nothing's on it, and I don't have to sit there and scrub. If I would have bought these from someplace, I would be scrubbing in the sink. So this works for me, for us, and when we come back, these will all be clean and ready to start processing. Most of it's easy. The tomatoes are what take a little bit of time for me. Although a lot of people just take them, wash them, throw them in there, but I tend to do a little bit of work on the front end to save me later when it's time to can. So we'll be right back with and after all this is clean. So here we are, we're getting these gojis into a bag, pulling out any stems or any bad gojis here, just trying to make sure we get those in. And then we move on to those blackberries, getting all of those into a bag. I actually had some frozen, ended up with more than I thought, just getting those in the freezer. And the blueberries, getting those into a clean bowl and checking for any stems that we might have had. That's really important to make sure we get all those out. Then we move to the tomatoes. So you could tell here I use a plate, I use a steak knife, a serrated knife, and I use a tomato core. I actually got the tomato core from an Amish store. Aaron thought I was never going to use this thing. He's like, why is she getting this? She's never going to use it. But it has actually worked out really well for me, especially for these little ones. A lot of times it's all I have to use. You can tell I've got these into little baggies here. I'm getting them cored, any bad spots out of the way. Just really working through that. You can see I have my bags kind of folded over. That's a little trick I've learned through the years as I've worked through freezing food. It kind of keeps the tops where you seal it from getting food on them. It works really well. I do it all the time for anything that I'm putting in the freezer in a bag. So I'm getting all of these into bags, and I go through a few bags here. I'm going to always kind of look at what I'm looking at, how many bags I'm going to have. These bigger ones, I usually try to cut them in half or into quarters to see if there's any bad spots. And if something looks bad, what I will do is I will go through and I will go ahead and cut those in half just to see. But you can tell there's a lot of these little aromas, and it doesn't take me to fill them up at all. They will fill up a bag really quickly. And getting all those scraps of my chickens, and they love that. They love it. We actually have volunteer tomatoes at our chicken coop. It really worked well for us. We have some in the front and the back of the chicken coop. I don't know how that happened. Aaron didn't realize we had any in the back, but we did. And we got tomatoes from them. We actually got a big bunch. That little tomato core, it's just been amazing. I use it for everything. I use it for this. I use it for squash. You can see I'm just getting any of those bad spots off. I have found a steak knife works better on tomatoes than any other knife. I've tried my little silver ones you usually see me use, but those steak knives where they're serrated, they just cut through the skin. It's so much better. Now, onto this spoon of Matthew tomatoes. They take so much time. They take so much time. It just takes forever to get through those. You can tell those little stems, they stick to you. They get hard. You can see I'm using my bags. I'm using those little tomatoes to kind of fill up my bags, seed as many of my bags as possible, and that really does work. Really does help get us through a little bit, make sure they're full, and I'll shake them up and get them in there and get as many tomatoes in those bags as I can. And then we ended up with about a gallon, and then we moved to the cereal. So this is organic honey nut and organic plain Cheerios, and I just put plain Cheerios in one, honey nut in the other, and just fill them up till I run out of the cereal. And we use this for the little one when she wants cereal, or just if we need a really quick meal. This lasts for us months and months. I don't even think I use one of these once a week. I would say if she's the only one eating it, might be one every 3 weeks. And then we go to the sealing process. So filling the jars is the problem. It doesn't take hardly any time, but sealing does. So I use a vacuum sealer, just a little one that we have. And it's got like you can use it for wide mouth, you can use it for regular mouth, and then I also make sure I label, and I do reuse my jars. So you can tell I use some blue painter's tape on those because they're already wrote over. And that's what I do for jars that I haven't written on. I'll put that blue tape on there, and I can just rip it off when I'm ready. And they are clean lids, and then I put those on there. And if you notice that there was a bug on my bucket at the beginning of the video, I did get that bug. I think it was a squash bug that had came into the house with the tomatoes. That happens when you have a garden. But you tell I'm working through this, and I'll get all these into our pantry, and it will just fill it up, and it's just really good to have on hand for emergencies, for quick breakfast, for a quick snack or something like that, because she hardly eats any. She's not a huge breakfast eater, and neither is Erin, especially if we have to get up really early and eat something quick for breakfast. So it does work out well to have these on hand. And like I said, if we're in the area where we would pick these up, that's when we would get them. And we usually tend to get several because we're not in that area where the store is very often. I mean, very, very rarely. Very rarely are we over there. So it doesn't make sense for us to only buy like 1 or 2 and then go as needed. It's just too long of a drive for us. And you can see I start to count here in a minute. And I'm going through making sure I have how many of these I actually have. And that little sealer, we have a manual one and it does a really good job. But for me personally, I like this one because it does all the work for me. And I very rarely have it not sealed. So anything that's going in my pantry, I do try to make sure I seal that up for the future, because it does help kind of save us some money, time, effort, and energy later. It does work well. I'm tired. It's been a long afternoon, but we got a lot done. We have another gallon of tomatoes, a little over a gallon of tomatoes. We have some more blackberries. Erin's got a whole bowl full of blueberries. See, he's the little one. We added to our goji berry collection several of these right now going on. So we'll have a lot of these to dehydrate here in the next couple of weeks when it starts to cool down. We have 20 jars sealed of cereal for the next several months. And that's probably the thing that's the most exhausting about all of it. But I feel good. I feel good. We got it all in the pantry. It's going to eventually, all of it will be shelf stable or ate. And we're just slowly working through. We're slowly working through these Homestead kitchen chores. We've got a lot more to do. A lot more to process. Apples, peaches, a lot of canning to get done in the next couple of weeks and months. So as always, thank you for joining us on the Candy Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.